All right, guys. Well, welcome to my Zoom on Clep and DSST. And I'm hoping to share with you guys a lot of information today so that you guys can be successful in this journey and make the best choice for you and your kiddos. For those that have teenagers joining us, welcome. I'm glad for you guys to hop on. This is some really exciting things for you guys for the future that you can help jumpstart your future and advance your careers faster than you thought you could. So I'm going to share my screen and show you a PowerPoint so we can kind of talk through this and we'll get started. Okay, most of you guys know me pretty well, but just a little information about me for those who are going to be watching this recording. My name is Becky Leggett. My husband and I are children's pastors. We have a big family, 11 people. We have 9 kiddos and some grandkiddos in our family. This picture here, you can see my daughter Alma and her husband and my grandson Ezekiel and our 6 other kiddos. We've been homeschooling since 2002, and I've homeschooled every grade from preschool up to 10th grade. My oldest daughter is now in 11th grade, and she's doing post-secondary. So thankfully, I'm kind of getting a little bit of a break from teaching with her. And I wanted to hop on and just do this question answer about Clep and DSST because it's been such a blessing for our family, and I know it can be a blessing for your family too. So let's jump in. What is Clep? What is DSST? Well, Clep stands for College Level Examination Program, and DSST is Dante's Subject Standardized Test. So those are just big words for tests that you can take to get college credit. Dante's was started by the military and originally was just for military members to help get college credit while they were doing service. And now it's for anybody. And I'm not sure exactly where Clep started, but both of them count towards college credit, and 3 college credits usually for each class. So it's pretty cool. And you can do it whenever you want. There's no limitation. Like put here, both are college level tests, and once you've completed, you get 3 college credits. The cool thing is these credits don't expire. But the College Board, they'll hold your credits. You don't have to transfer them right away until you know what college you actually want to attend. But they'll only hold them for 20 years. So they don't expire, but they won't have them on record after 20 years. So you do need to transfer them to another college within 20 years. Once you transfer them to the college that you're wanting to attend, then they're at that college on their system, so they won't expire. But so just make sure that you do get them transferred within 20 years. I mean, that's a long time. If you're 15 right now, you got till you're 35 to get them transferred. So hopefully you'll know what you want to do with them by then. Okay, who can take Clep DSSTs? The cool thing is anybody. So mom, that you're sitting here, if you guys have been thinking like, hey, I want to get this degree, you can take Cleps too and get college credit for only about $100, which is cool. But if you're a high schooler right now, you can. Even if you're a middle schooler, some of these Cleps aren't too hard. The one that they recommend, or I hear a lot of people recommend for middle schoolers, is the world religion one. And my daughter did take that one as a freshman, and she passed it. So it's not too incredibly hard. Some are more difficult, but that one is one where as a middle schooler you can even take. And if you are an advanced middle schooler, I know some middle schoolers that are like super smart. They know math like really good. I'm sure you could take other Cleps too and pass just fine. So most of them are geared towards high schoolers because, you know, in that high school, upper high school age, you're already learning the same things that your generals will be in college. So if you're already learning American history in high school, you're going to be taking a general that's American history in college. And so if you can do those both and get one, you can do them at the same time and get credit for both, that's a win-win. So that's really what Clep is about, is before you can do post-secondary. So some of you may have heard of post-secondary. That's where you actually attend the college your junior or senior year, and you get credit at that college, and it counts as your high school credit. So that's double dipping. That's something that's really cool. And maybe we can share more about that at the end. But before you do that, you can already start getting college credits. Awesome. So let's jump in. What Clep DSST tests are there? I thought, oh, I'm just pull up a chart so everybody could see what they are. They would not even fit on 2 screens. There are just so many different Clep and DSST out there. So you can just Google Clep tests, DSST tests if you want, but mostly I would say you want to shoot for your generals. Okay, so for those that don't know what generals are, when you graduate with a bachelor's degree, 60 of those credits are considered general credits. So you have to be well-rounded. They want you to be able to do math even if you have a science degree. They want you to be able to speak and share your thoughts even if you have a math degree. So they want you to be well-rounded. Minnesota has done this really cool thing that'll make this easy for you. It's called the Minnesota Transfer Curriculum. I put a link on here, and I don't know if you can copy and paste it. Let's see if I can copy and paste it. Oops, that brought me to the wrong thing. I can try to put this in the chat at the end, but this I just pulled off of St. Cloud State Technical College. That's where my daughter's doing post-secondary, and this is a list of all of the different classes they offer that go towards the Minnesota Transfer Curriculum. So the Minnesota Transfer Curriculum is curriculum that most Minnesota state colleges have agreed to accept these classes that will transfer into each goal area. So they created 10 goal areas. They want you to have a class in each one of these goal areas. So that once you have a class in these goal areas, or some of them are more than one class. They'll say 7 credits or 6 credits or 3 credits in each goal area. And so that's what Minnesota is saying counts as a general, well-rounded education for the bachelor degrees. So you can look on there and you can see different classes that count for these different goal areas. And some of them we call our double dippers. And so one of them is world religions. It counts in one goal area and another goal area. And you don't have to pick. It can fulfill both of them. So then you can use those other credits to pursue a class that maybe you're more interested in. And so I put here my top 5. So I thought it would be, rather than just for you to go search all of them and pick one, I thought I'd share a top 5. And I actually talked with another homeschool mom this week and said, what would you say your top 5 are? And these were the exact same ones she put, were the same ones I was gonna put. So these are the top 5. And I picked these 5 because, first of all, they're not too hard to take. Most of them, some of them are a little bit harder, but a lot of them also count for 2 subject areas in that Minnesota Transfer Curriculum. So they really do help you get ahead and be able to study what you actually really want to study. So one was world religions, and this one counts in a couple goal areas. This one is probably, like I said at the beginning, one of the easier ones. And the reason world religions is one of the easier ones is because religions change, but not a lot. Like they stay pretty much the same. So once you study the religions and you know the religions, then you can be pretty confident on the test that you're going to have most of the information if you know the religions well. The next one is environmental science. So this one counts in your science credit and a couple other places, like maybe it's humanities. I don't have the thing in front of me right now, I'm sorry. But this one is good, and it's generally, you can take it as like a freshman science. It's generally, you're gonna be taking usually physical science or environmental science. So it counts as both credits, so it's really good. The one thing about environmental science is that it is changing. Environmental science changes a lot. So there is a little bit more broader spectrum to study on that one. Just so you're aware that you'll want to have a lot of resources that you're studying. If you're just choosing one book to study, you might not be prepared enough. So I'm gonna talk on the next slide about different places you can get information to study. And that's when you're gonna want to study from a few different areas to make sure that you're well prepared for that one. Psychology is the next one. I just taught this psychology one to my now 11th grader. She was a 10th grader last year. We did it in a co-op, and I just taught it. It was so much fun to teach. Sadly, right when everyone was going to go take their testing, everything closed down. So we're still waiting now to get back in psychology mentality to go take our testing on that. U.S. History 1. I don't know, some people really love history. When I was in high school, it wasn't my favorite. And if I could be done with history, taking it once and be done, I would be really excited. So that's why I put U.S. History 1 down. It will take some studying on the front end, okay? It's a lot of dates, a lot of people, a lot of information to study. But if you can do that, then you can have this area done for your college, and it would just be so nice. Then you can just really focus in college on what you want, and you don't have to be worried then about being bogged down with dates and events and things like that. So U.S. History 1, there are 2 U.S. histories. So there's U.S. History 1. I don't have the exact dates in front of me, but it's like 18 something to 1920 or something like that, and then there's U.S. history from 1920 to current. So there's I just have them do one. All that you need is one, usually for your generals, I believe, to cover that history one. It's only 3 credits, so the U.S. history one will suffice. And the last one, analyzing, interpreting literature. And this is this one isn't too incredibly hard. I've heard a lot of people say that it's not too hard of Clep. My daughters have not taken it yet. My one is studying this year to take it. So I can tell you at the end how hard she thought it was. But I've heard from other homeschool moms that this is another one that is fairly easy. The thing you do need to know about this one is you need to know poetry. So there's a lot of poetry on this and analyzing poetry. So that's one. If you're not too good at poetry, you'll want to make sure that you spend time learning about poetry so that you can pass this one. Time frame wise, how long would it take you to study and pass? It really is up to each student. I plan it for a semester for each one of my students, except for psychology. We plan for 2 full semesters. But a lot of them, some people are really fast and can really learn and study it in just a few weeks. But we use it as part of our curriculum, so I plan it for a full semester. That they'll be studying it and learning it for a full semester, and then like the last few weeks, maybe the last month, will be more focused on preparing for the test. Okay, so how do I take them? You may be like, hey, this is great, but I want to know how I take them. What do I actually have to do? So first you have to study for the exam. There's no like golden rule, study this and you will for sure pass. There's a lot of different curriculums out there. There's a lot of different things to help you. And so I'm going to share some of those and what's worked for us, and some of them might not work for you. So you kind of got to play with this a little bit and figuring out what works for you. One of the best resources I love the most, because it's free and it actually helps pay for your Clep, is modernstates.org. This one's so cool. It's all online, and it's video based. Most of them are video based, but a lot of them have textbook to go with it, and they have assignments that you need to complete, and some of them have a timeline, actually, 4 to 6 weeks. I took the Analyzing Lit and the government on there, and I just went through and I created a schedule for my daughter, what I wanted her to complete, the readings I wanted her to do, and whatnot. And if they complete that all, and then at the end they register to take their Clep, they will reimburse you if you pass it. So it's so cool. They will actually pay you back, so you don't have the expense. You're getting, their whole motto is that you get your freshman year free. So they really are trying to help you pass this. Their understanding, though, usually is that you've already taken the course and you're just trying to restudy for it. So if this is something new to you, you may need an additional textbook or additional study on top of Modern States. So there are things called Clep study books by REA. You can find them on Amazon. They're about $20. And those are just like a condensed version of what you need to know. You know, most time if your psychology textbook is like this big, you know, this big of textbook. So these Cleps are probably about that wide, but they're smaller books. And they're a more condensed version, highlighting the facts that for more in-depth study. So those are a great resource to study, to read, and they have practice tests in them, in the back of them. And if you buy them new, then you have online actually practice tests too. So those are really neat tools. That's one thing you will for sure want to do, is take a practice test, which we'll talk on number 2. The third resource is a lady named Sherry Frame. Maybe I'm saying wrong, Sherry Fram, right? And she has created little workbooks to help you pass some more of the, especially some of the DSSTs. She does have some Clep, but the DSSTs, there wasn't a lot of resources for them. So she helped create resources. So she has a world religion workbook and textbook and different step-by-step to help you study and prepare for these Cleps. She has an environmental science one. I mean, she has a whole bunch. She has psychology. We use psychology. Even though psychology is actually a Clep, we just use all the resources we could. Modern States, Sherry Fram, Quizlet. We just want to be as well prepared as we could be. And the last thing I put on there is Quizlet. If you just Google like psychology Clep, and it'll pull up a ton of Quizlets that you can quiz yourself through. The Sherry Fram actually has a Quizlet, I believe, link that goes directly along with the textbook that she recommends. And so when we did US History 1, we just Googled US History 1 Clep. and just did different Quizlets on those. Most of them are free. Doesn't require you to log in. Some of them are private, but most of them are free. So that's your first step. Study for the exam. Decide what's going to work best for you. Set a schedule. Set a date you actually want to take the test so that you are on track to schedule. If you have friends that are doing the same Clep, set some study days. Make this fun. It doesn't have to be drawn out. It doesn't have to be boring. It can be so fun. So set some study dates, do some Zooms, whatever you guys need to do to connect. The second step is you want to start taking practice tests. Because when you take a practice test and you see where your areas that you don't have enough information, you can go and research those and find those, you know, especially with the U.S. history one, because U.S. history is pretty broad to memorize everything. So to see where you are weak is a great thing to go back and study and be like, I didn't know this question at all. I need to restudy this. So take those practice tests. Like I said, the Clep REA books have 2 in them, and then they have more online. You can Google them. modernstates.org has practice tests. If you register and you do their whole curriculum, they have practice tests with it. And after you feel ready, you schedule an exam at your local college. Most colleges do Clep. You may have to search for DSST. In this area, I know Alexandria, that's where we've done our DSST tests. Maybe Anoka, I don't know. I think I've seen that on there, but I usually just go to Alexandria. They have a testing center right there. You just call and you can get in. It's not like you have to schedule far out. You know, they have so many computers available, and as long as they have a computer available, you can pick what time and what date works for you. And then when you go there, you will pay the school an exam fee. It's usually $25 around there. And then you'll actually pay the testing fee, which goes to Clep or DSST. And I put, it's usually 86. I didn't want to go search for my receipt and find the exact number, but it's around that. So that's where it's really cool with the Modern States, is that you can actually get that $86 reimbursed. So pass the test, it's great. Here's one downfall to the Clep and the DSST, is you have to pay to take the test whether you pass it or not. So if you take it and you don't pass it, you're out the $100, and you have to retake it and repay again and pay then $100. So there is a little bit of risk, but I was telling my kids, they took the environmental science and they didn't pass it, and they felt really like they were like wasted money. And I told them, no, that's such good experience, because now you have experience taking a college level course in this. It's worth the $100 for me. I know the next time you go take it, you're going to study and you're going to pass it. Okay, so I've spent $200 and you have 3 college credits. I mean, you can't get college credits for just $200. So a college credit class. So for them, I just encourage them, and encourage your kids too, if they are struggling or nervous about they don't want to waste the $100. It is a really good experience for them to take those tests too. Especially my kids have been homeschooled for most of their life, so they don't have a ton of experience taking big tests like that. So this was just really good, helping prepare them for college and different tests down the road. All right, you guys remember, if I said if you have any questions, make sure you type them out in the chat so I can answer them as we go. Additional information I put on here again, Sherry Frame's website, creditsbeforecollege.com. She's a wealth of information, and you can even message her with questions, which is cool. Nancy's at Hepner's. If you guys haven't visited Hepner's Legacy in Elk River, she's such a great resource, and she has had all her kids do Cleps and DSSTs and done post-secondary, so she knows a lot of information out there too. The other thing, there is actually a Facebook group called College Credit by Exam Homeschool. Okay, so that's the actual, you Google that, you'll find that, and that is managed, I believe, by Sherry Fram and then some other volunteers. And there's actually study sheets. If you go in the files, there are people have study sheets in there, what they've studied. There's just a wealth of information on that Facebook page that people have put out there. Consider getting a homeschool mentor if you're not sure what to do next. If you're just worried about what to do, consider getting a mentor who's gone there, who's been there, and can help you along your journey. If you guys have more questions, you can message me on Facebook or email me at legattministries@gmail.com. But let's stop the screen share and let's just chat if anybody has questions. I didn't see any in the group chat. So does anybody have other questions? Even students, if you have questions, type it out or unmute and ask. Everyone's quiet. All right, well, I'm going to sue. Okay, I have a question. Lindsay does. Okay, great. Shoot, Lindsay. You can unmute. You don't have to type it if you don't want to, but you can type it.
All right, that's easier. Okay, so when you're studying for the Clep test, can you use that course study as a credit for your high school?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. That's part of my daughter's homeschool curriculum. So she's doing analyzing lit. That's her 9th grade analyzing lit composition credit. And then but her passing the CLEP has nothing to do with her passing my high school class. As long as she puts her effort into it and everything, she passes and gets her high school credit. And if she passes her CLEP, great, she gets college credit, but it doesn't reflect on if she gets her credit from me.
Thank you.
Yes. And one thing Lindsay and I were talking about another day was post-secondary enrollment. And so I did mention that quick, so I did want to go back to that. So just a clarification, the difference between post-secondary and CLEP is that CLEP is something you study for in your own home, and then you go and you take it, and it's based on a test. If you pass the test, you get college credit. Minnesota has a program called Post-Secondary Enrollment Option, and that's where you can actually enroll in a college and get college credit for the classes that you take. And those two, Lindsay, are the same. They count as your high school credit and your college credit and college credit. The difference is the post-secondary, you actually have a college professor. Right now sometimes you would usually actually go to the class, but right now most of them are all online. So you're still taking an online class with a college professor. It does count. Like if you don't pass a class, you have a bad GPA record on your college, on your college GPA record. So just know that it's not like the CLEP. If you don't pass, you don't pass. It doesn't really hurt you in any way. But the PSEO is an actual college class. You have to submit assignments and tests. And so you want to make sure your student is ready for that and is going to take that serious. Right now, there's some 10th graders can get into post-secondary. I don't know the exact standards on that. Sorry, I was trying to find it and I couldn't find it yesterday. But any 11th grader, if you're homeschooled, you I think it says a GPA of 3.5. I can't remember. But, we create our children's transcript. So in my house, if you've done the work that I've asked and you have worked successfully, everybody gets an A. If they're not doing their work or stuff like that, then they don't. So my kids always have a decent GPA. But you can grade however you feel that you want to. And then also they have something called an AccuPlacer test that you will take. If you are coming straight from high school, public school, and going to do post-secondary, they just take your GPA average. And if it's above a certain number, then you don't have to take the AccuPlacer. If it's below a certain number, you have to take an AccuPlacer test. So that's how you get into post-secondary. And I did find out that St. Cloud's Tech, and I know Lindsay found out there's college. Lindsay, what's the name of the college you looked at? Farmland?
Riverland?
Riverland also takes applications for spring semester for post-secondary. So if you do have an 11th grader or even a 10th grader, you could call and find out what the rules are on that. They can enroll this spring. And then this whole fall, they can be doing these CLEP classes and still be getting college credits. So it's pretty cool to help your kids. If I would have known about CLEP, I would have definitely taken some CLEP before I started or graduated high school. But my last 2 years, my junior and senior year of high school, I did post-secondary and I graduated with 45 college credits. So it was really, really cool. I got done with my college in just a couple of years and was ready to move on. So, all right, does anybody else have questions? Otherwise, I can't think of something else I forgot to share. If anyone has questions, let me know. All right, guys, thanks for hopping on. I kept this at a half an hour so you guys can enjoy the rest of your day. Make sure if you guys do have questions to email me, call me, message me, and I will see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.